Hey guys, how are you? Camilo here. This video, I want to talk to you about a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson that I think is really powerful, and I want to tell you a little personal story because it'll shed light on what happens. Depending on the choice you make, of course, it shows you an awesome contrasting result, right? So here's the quote. This is from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it reads, "Inside of us, we all know that on the other side of fear lies freedom." All right. On the other side of fear lies freedom. And of course, we all know this because we all know that there are things in our business or in our lives that we know we should be doing consistently every day to get a certain result that we don't do. And because we don't do those things, then we end up getting the same result, which is what we don't want. And yet, the 1 to 3% of the population of the world who goes on to do incredible things, they do the things consistently that nets them the result they want in their lives. And that's really the difference. And in order to do that, there is this stage, right? This growth stage of overcoming fear that is going to get you there or not, depending on how you handle it, right? So when I was 14 years old, I had a situation. I had been in a boarding school in Dominican Republic. Without getting into all the details, I landed there because my parents got divorced and my mom had to work in the States to make better money, right? But then she was going to, her plan was ultimately to go back and live in Dominican Republic with her kids. Now, we've always lived in the States. I was probably, I don't know at the time, 14, but I'd been in New York at that point for 6 years prior to that, prior to my parents splitting up. And ultimately, you know, my mom decided that she wanted us to grow up in Dominican Republic and take us back to sort of our roots, I guess. So one way she was going to do this was to put my sister and I in boarding school so she could work in the States where she could make really good money in dollars, and then obviously, you know, send some of that money down to Dominican Republic, convert it into their local currency, and then we'd be able to build a house, buy a house, do whatever, live a happy life. Um, didn't quite turn out that way. After a year, she didn't quite have everything in place as she wanted to, and then some crazy thing happened with her husband and his visa status. I don't even remember, but the point is they had to leave the country. I didn't want to travel with them. I wanted to go back to this boarding school because I'd made some really good friends and I wanted to go hang out again and just be with my friends, you know, and I was kind of tired of all the moving around. So she said, "Well, I don't know that I can afford it. So if you work this summer and you help me with your tuition, we could probably do it." And she said, the school has a church sanctioned program where you can sell books door to door. And they'll hook you up with everything you need and they'll give you inventory and they'll show you how to do this and you can go do that. And I thought, wow, my gosh, you know, selling books door to door, you know, awful. Long story short, I pretty much sucked at it and I didn't really want to do it. And the primary reason why I sucked at it was because I was afraid. You know, you get off your little public taxi car and you'd start walking down the strip and you'd see all these local business and you knew you had to go in there and try to sell a book to someone who doesn't want to spend money. I mean, I'm living in a third world country where the economy isn't great and people don't have a ton of disposable income. So you've kind of you have to pick and choose, you know, and even if someone has a business, it doesn't mean they're successful. So, you know, it was just a tough prospect to every day know that I was going to have to go talk to a lot of people to try and sell them books. About religion or nutrition or, you know, how to, you know, introduce more wheat into your diet, you know, stuff like that. And I just remember, like, every time I would open up a door to a business, I mean, it felt like 1,000 pounds. And eventually I capitulated to that fear. I couldn't really get myself in a mental state where I was going to go out there and consistently make money. There were days when I did, but there were days most of the time where all I wanted was for the clock to say 12 o'clock so that I can get on my little public taxi and go to the lady that used to cook me lunch every day at around 1 o'clock, eat my rice and beans, and then make a half-ass effort for another 4 or 5 hours, and then go to my little safe house where I would sleep with other members of my team. I didn't really have a home. I was just living in these safe houses, moving from one to the other, and then do it again the next day. Eventually, I just quit. I just said, you know, I'm not doing this anymore, and I don't know where my mom is. You know, I did not know where she was. It had been 3 months since the last time I'd spoken to her, and I had no idea how to get in touch with her. So I said, you know what, my grandma's here. I'm going to go stay with her, and that's what I did. Conversely, months later, when I finally did get in touch with my mom, and we won't get into the details of why we were miscommunicated for 7 months. I was 16 at that point. I had basically decided that I wasn't doing the book thing anymore, so I didn't want to sell. So my dad made a phone call, and a friend of his who managed a small investment bank allowed me to work there. Remember, I'm an illegal alien. I'm American, working in this bank. So my parents are Dominican, but I'm actually by technically a U.S. citizen because I was born in Puerto Rico. And so he says, well, I'm going to do this for you because you're my bud. But I mean, he's really not supposed to be working here. I can get in trouble. But I did get the job, and then I realized I didn't know where my mom was, as I said. So I picked up the phone book and I put myself through night school. And then when I finally got in touch with her, I said, I want to get the flip out of here. I almost said it, but I didn't. And so sure enough, I finished 11th grade, and then I went back to New York. And here's the interesting story. This is the flip side, all right? Where I failed, my stepdad, my mom got remarried. Where I failed, my stepdad succeeded. He was doing the exact same thing, selling the exact same types of books, but he was coming home with wads of cash every day, 200, 300. And here's the interesting part, guys. He did not speak the language. He'd really never been in New York. He was a Dominican ex-diplomat now, working, selling books door to door in the Spanish-speaking sections of New York, particularly Manhattan, driving to these little areas every day, and then just going door to door and selling Bibles and nutritional books and kids' religious books. And he'd never done that before. But here's the difference: he didn't have a choice. He had to support his family, and at some point, you have to find whatever leverage you need to overcome fear, because when you do, freedom lies on the other side. Now, in his case, freedom was the ability to make $200-300 a day, which was good, and be able to support his family. Is there a different type of freedom out there for you? Of course. There's a different type of freedom that I would like for myself, right? I'd like to make $300 a day. That's my goal, over the next 20, 30 days, 30, 60 days, $300 a day, in my underwear, working 2 hours a day. But for him, it was basically just how do I get $200 to $300 a day by working my butt off, from 9 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, so I can support my family. And he overcame fear. So I got to ask you again, what's the thing that's holding you back right now? What are you willing to do? If you know that if you do that thing, it's going to take you to the promised land, what are you willing to do, and what are you waiting for? And what if I told you that your fear is stupid? What if I told you that it's just this dumb thing? You want to know what my fear has been for a long time? If I told you right now that I can start doing something today, and I started doing this yesterday, I could start doing something today that would put me at the top of my game and absolutely dramatically change my life forever in as little as 90 days. And this is not a pitch, guys. This is the truth. All right, I have an advantage. I can leverage paid media to generate the leads that I need for my business. That's what I've been doing. Now, I've got that advantage because I have a small budget to work with, and I'm getting some signups now, which helps, of course. But if I really want to kick things up and I wanted to just absolutely crush it, I would start talking to people on Facebook. Now, why won't we talk to people on Facebook? I'll tell you exactly why, because the reason I don't do it is the reason you don't do it. It's easier to just post your link on a Facebook group and hope that someone clicks on it, and then you're really, really living the life of cash on autopilot, except that's not going to happen. I'm not saying posting on Facebook groups is not a good idea. It is. I've actually started tracking it, and I know that you're getting clicks, right? But you better be posting on a bunch of groups, and I'm not talking about 20 groups here. You better be posting on a bunch for that to work, all right? However, just learning how to converse with people and getting over your fear of not knowing what to say or how to introduce yourself, or if you just stop thinking that you have to vomit your biz op on the onset of the conversation, it's going to really help you. And I discovered this 2 days ago when I actually had a nice conversation, chatted with someone, found out what they were doing. They found out what I was doing. It wasn't a match, but you know what? I did not evaporate into thin air. I didn't die. And so now think about this. If you do that 20 times a day, just start a conversation. You don't even have to be live with the person. It could just be a message you send that goes into their Facebook inbox. Statistically, if you do it 20 times a day and you do it right and you engage conversation the proper way, you're probably going to close, in our business, 1 to 2 people a day. One person a day, guys, at a $25 level, almost guaranteed to get you to $10,000 a month or more. 2 people will get you to 30, period, right? So if you know that that type of freedom lies on the other side of whatever fear is keeping you from doing that, what are you willing to do to get out of that comfort zone and become comfortable with the uncomfortable? Because frankly, that's what you need to do. And here's the beautiful thing about that. Do you have to be a rocket science to do that? No, right? A conversation. And that's just one example. Maybe for you, it's doing the Facebook pay-per-click stuff or some other type of paid media. You're afraid to write an ad and spend money and it's not going to produce anything. At some point, you've got to face fear and just pummel it. And when you do that, when you totally just absolutely tear down that fence, the other side is going to be amazing because it's going to be beautiful. You're going to be empowered. You're going to be happy. You're going to live this incredible life of freedom. And the best part about it is that your story, the trail that you leave behind getting there, is going to help someone else do the same thing. And now you're going to be responsible for helping someone else live an empowered, beautiful, inspired life. I think that's cool. I hope that you got a lot out of this video. If there's any way that I can help you and mentor you get to a place in your business where you're going to be able to do the things that you want to do, I encourage you to get in touch with me. We have a tremendous number of people doing amazing things on our team, and just a wonderful community that's here to help and uplift each other, to help everyone that we can get the things that they want in life. So thank you for spending a few minutes of your time with me today. I really hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, please leave a little feedback below, wherever you're watching this video. And as always, make sure you connect with me on Facebook so that we can stay in touch and I can do everything that I can to help you, and vice versa, I can learn from you. All right, take care, guys, and I will see you next time.